place with exotic animals and even wilder places to visit and explore. My speech will be about the diversity within Brazil, as well as comparing Brazil to America. Lastly, I will be discussing the society within Brazil. This information and the facts I will be using to represent and explain Brazil's culture and society would not be possible without Hofstede Insights, CIA.gov, and JSTOR.gov. First, I will be comparing Brazil to America in terms of how certain things are done. Next, I will be talking about Brazil's society and how it is ran. Finally, I will be discussing how Brazil is very diverse in the main languages spoken there. First, I will talk about the comparison between Brazil and America. According to individualism and power diversity in Hofstede Insights, unlike America, Brazil chooses to put more power in their hierarchy versus in the people. Also believing that minor inequalities amongst the people are acceptable to an extent. But like in America, they believe to show their elders respect, although in a much more serious way, with children taking care of the elders as they become older. Power within Brazil shows high social status and is key to maintaining that position. Even to be able to communicate to those of higher power, you must have at least a good amount of power. Like stated earlier, Brazil and America are similar to an extent. In Brazil, once a child is born, he or she is integrated into a powerful, cohesive group, therefore meaning that an older, wiser family member, like an aunt or an uncle, are given the responsibility to help their younger nephew or niece get hired into their own business. This is much different in America because here, once a child born into a family of wealth has everything handed to him, whereas a child born into a poor family has to start from the bottom or somewhere around the middle and work their way up. Now, I will be talking about the society within Brazil. Within Brazil's society, there is a multitude of reasons why their country is so great. Brazil's population is ranked number 5 among the countries of the world, but they have seen a rapid decline in fertility rate. This is the main reason for a slowing growth population and a fast-paced demographic. But more than half of Brazil's population is considered middle class, or although more than half of Brazil's population is considered middle class, the poverty level still remains very high. Brazil also has a very high crime rate due to these high poverty levels. Although Brazil has been a hotspot for immigrants, once the importation of African slaves was put to an end, Brazil had begun importing people from Europe to replace African slaves in the fields. But immigrants now have been coming from Argentina and Chile, many of them being illegal and unskilled in many ways. Finally, I will be discussing how Brazil is very diverse in the main languages that are spoken there. According to Languages and Culturgram's World Factbook, Portuguese is the main spoken language in Brazil. English is the next language to study, although many Brazilians are not able to fully learn English because they cannot find anyone or an instructor that is fluent enough in English to be able to teach them the proper way. Portuguese spoken in Brazil is more of a slang, unlike in Portugal where it is more formal. Brazilians mostly speak Portuguese and are eager to learn English but do not have the proper schooling. Spanish is a language that is similar to Portuguese and is another widely spoken language within Brazil as well. But many Brazilians take offense when spoken to in Spanish because they believe that they should not be spoken to due to the fact that Portuguese is what they've always been taught since they were young. This is my speech on Brazil. In my speech, I explained how Brazil is a very different and diverse country. First, I compared Brazil to America. Second, I explain Brazil's society. And lastly, I explain how Brazil is diverse in many languages. Brazil is a very interesting place, and it's a place that I would like to visit one day.